The father Abraham had many sons, many sons of Father Abraham. I am not one of them, and you are not also one of them. So let us praise the Lord, Lord Abraham, Lord Daramea, Lord Abraham. So let us praise the Lord. Right hand, left hand. Hey, Father Abraham had many sons. Father Abraham had many sons. I am not one of them. You are not one of them. So let us not praise that Lord Abraham because we can decide to praise other lords. May the Lord, may the peace of the Lord be with you. In other words, tha cia we mwene cirogukinyira aka thayo wi thayo kuri thayo. May the peace of the Lord be with you. Urogia na thayo wa Lord Daramea, Lord Mwangi ancient. So kuri thayo Lord Mwangi ucio ni Lord Gikuyu Jega wa muthaka. Jega wa muthaka ni mumbui wa mbari ya bu. Jega wa muthaka uhangi ni muyore ugaga. Terms and conditions apply. Riu akione twa program haria sukuru. Great big, a lot of programming in the name of education. So here we go. We are praising Father Abraham. We don't even know who the fuck Abraham is. Who is Abraham? Don't even try to fool us. Oh, it's not Abraham, it's Abram. Who is Abram? The last time I checked, Igua Motiso, Nemori, Makori, Achieng, Omondi, Igua Marebota Motoa, Igua Moekali, Igua Modogio, Etona, Moakazi. Diraigua phonetic, or rather, I can't hear any phonetics associated with that L, that language, that makes me even think that you are close to Father Abraham. So Father Abraham had many sons. You are not one of the sons, okay? Now, so Abraham, we know about the Abrahamic religion, another drama. We are not interested in that. The only reason I mentioned Father Abraham, farther away, something that is farther away, Father Abraham, farther away. So that Abrahamic, that Abraham, whatever it means, whatever three things have been joined, Brahma, Ham, Shem, and Ah, all those things brought together to give you the Abrahamic religion, a farther star, a farther away mentality that was there before. That is why they are saying they had many sons. We are not their sons. We are other people's sons, not that lineage. Your lineage are the Saxons, what you call the white people, and they are not our lineage. That is why DNA is different. That is why the what you call nyabura taririkania metaga te kinyamu giki kia riri kia kindu giki kia neothandos giki kia kumenya muthungu kia kurora DNA na chromosomes. There's a name for it. For that whole thing of why the white man is not called neothando, whatever neothando. Nyabura taririkana. No kuririkana tariganite maundu mothe nioi kuri thayo. Now, so you talk about ancestors, but now, do you know what spirit your ancestor is? Do you know whether your ancestors are for you, or do you know if your ancestors are not for you? Now, what is an ancestor? An ancestor is nothing more but an elder spirit. place or thing. Doesn't necessarily have to be a person. It's something that was there before you. An ancestor. It was there before you came. Whether it's yesterday, your mother was still there before you. Okay? So an ancestor is nothing more but an elder. Anyone who's before you is an elder. He's an ancestor. All the way to your father now, he's an ancestor. Ona tell you abere yaku. Otidoki waga no miaka 30 mutiganite nayo. He's still your ancestor. Though he has not gone for us to use it in that context, but he's still farther away from you. That is even why you're calling him your father. You know you are my father. Why? You're still farther away from me. You came before me. You know what I'm saying? Now, nagimaga yuka thutha wake. All those years, na marika, na maundu magita mau. So, if your ancestor is your elder, then what that means is that they were in a space before you. Whether that space was years ago, the fact remains they occupied a space before you. Mujiru jera.
Okodake.
Okay, you're there, Mujiru, as long as Niki do it, the boy get it.
Sai.
Options, kwena sai.
Kwena sai tukoteta sai turugi sai wa mas sai wa iria.
Kenywe masani nyedete black tea. Kenywe black tea. So, shout out to Monjiro. She's about to make me some black tea. You know what I'm saying? So, tumakoreu. So, the spirit was already there before you. So your ancestor, that elder, was there before you, aka they were in a body before you, aka this body. They were also in a location before you. Why is your teto? Why is your na hau agavete? Iwe wa kore metumi digi magoro muranga. So that's a location that they were there before you. So we otakinyite ne makinyite kou kihumo kianyu. So your elders experience that location before you in a different time. So if you come into the same spot today, the same space, the same homestead, the same lineage, the same name, the same tribe, the same whatever you want to call it, whatever family structure it is, then you have to understand that there were people before you. There were elders before you in that particular location. So the time may be different, but the space within the space is still the same. AKA, nyodia kudu kegone kureka history. Okaiguha neho agangania mona ile kaudu fulani. So the place has a history. So the place still has some fumes from something that happened there some times before. Some fumes, some dust, some residue, some remnants, some people, a younger generation that can talk about those ones as in agukawito in the same location. Niyo nagikora ndrona guka agikona. Niyo nagikora ndrona guka. So there are still remnants, there are still ashes, there are still breath, there are still smoke, there are still descendants who can give you that oral tradition gana kile raki wakwire haha niho waguka mali. Kuri thayo. Now, wanegua mundu akirora mwana wake ukaigua akiuga akira mundu wake atiriri niyo atiga ni mwana o ndingire Kenya. Niyo atiga ni mwana uyu nigicokete wira. So now you are blaming your child, the child that you have, for not going back to work. You're blaming the child that you have for not bugging the man you wanted. tiga nĩ mwana ũyũ nĩ ona rĩngĩ hikĩte mwana ũyũ no ogiragia hikio na mũthuri wa nyendaga rĩgũria ndĩna mwana. You get so when you start having regrets about the baby you have, in the same way you don't know whether your parents or your grandparents say the same thing. Ndũkorwo nĩ rũgo ũguo rĩ wakwĩra aciari aku nĩ angels, wakwĩra cũcũ wanyu na guka wanyu matiugaga ũguo, nauga matiakuona makona wĩ kĩoho makaigua kĩmoha. Kũrĩ thayũ. Shout out to the daughters of the mountain. I see you. I know you are watching. Nyabura Kimani, Mani we nawe, Igona wa Muthoni, thayũ, Jane Wax Kawanji, thayũ Njega wa Muthaka, Wanjiru Mucera Kauga. May the peace of the Lord be with you. Now, so nĩndamba ndakũhe ngerekano ũrĩa we mwenyewe ũkorwo ũgĩtiga kĩrumi ngana mũgambo ũtakwenda. So no wajia kũgeka mwana tiga nĩ mwana ũyũ nĩ mũthuri ũyũ nĩ ngĩamũtigire. Ici ciana nĩcio ngirĩtie niĩ ndarĩte green card ngĩheana nĩ ũndũ wa ciana. I'm giving you an example. Nigetha ũgĩciria atĩ ũndũ ta ũcio ndũngĩkĩka rĩ, wambe wone ĩyo nĩ common sense. You can do the same thing. You do the same thing. Kiumia nĩ ũkoneka. Ici ciana cingĩreka nyoneke kiumia. Get what I'm saying? Tiga kũnenehia. Mũthũkagia maũndũ nĩ kũhũthĩra mĩano yanyu ũrĩa tayo. You use the mind for things is not supposed to be useful. That is why we are all so lost. Come back to your own house now. Come back to your own house now. You are wet. You want to get some. He is hard. You are about to kick it. Here comes the baby crying. Here goes the wife saying, Tigane mwana ũyũ. You get what I'm saying? So it's not intentional that you are saying that, but you have no option but to say that. So if you can say that, the same way the elders before you can say the same thing about you. Now, hayato kinyete nĩ mũĩ atĩ mwana to be born, or rather siblings, what you call sisters and brothers, you already know that you are not from the same family. That is why you have siblings who fight. Because if your siblings can have different blood types, aka you're a family of 7, your mom and your dad, yet none of you can match your bloods, the 3 of you, ukaigua mamu wanyu nĩ negative, baba wanyu nĩ wewe B aga minor, uyo ũngĩ aga nĩ rhesus factor, uyo aga nĩ D, ugo nĩ kũrĩ D, whichever. So you realize that those people are not your family. Ũrĩa mwĩkĩte nĩ gũciaranĩrwo. Your family is the one who can donate blood to you and you match in blood. However, there's still other things to look into, all the way to your pets. So the same way your cat cannot give you blood and your sister cannot give you blood because it's not the same blood type, means that a cat or a pet can be your family. And not even your sibling, ura musiaranĩirwo, na nĩkĩo thiaga ko introduce mũndũ kwĩ mamu wanyu kana mũndũ ukamwĩra ũyũ nĩ mwarĩ wa maitũ. So this is a daughter to my maitũ. Ũyũ nĩ mwarĩ wa maitũ. Nduga nĩ mwarĩ wakwa. Ndugaga atĩ ũyũ nani rĩ tũrĩ a maitũ. No, ugaga ũyũ nĩ mũrũ wa maitũ. Ũyũ nĩ mwarĩ wa maitũ. You don't even know why you are saying it, but your spirit knows that this is a son to your mother. This is a daughter to your mother, but your siblings, what you call sisters and brothers. Kuri that. Amani we nawe. Tiga kwaje kora brother yaku waje kugana. Nikio taiguana na brother yaku. It goes deep. Now, the same way that you can be born in a family and you become arch enemies with your brother. Ukaigua na brother yake matiunana maitho. Uyu na sister yake na matiunanaga, matiendaga kwaranĩria, matigeithanagia, mating'ethũkanagia. Uyu ndaginya kũraga brother yake. Uyu nĩ oragĩte sister yake. Tutue matamacio. We are just reminding people we are not teaching. We don't want anyone to be in those kind of trials and tribulations. It's the worst place to be. So, warĩkia ku understand atĩ nĩ gũciarana mũciaranĩirwo, na nĩkĩo gũthiĩ rĩngĩ ũkagĩa na enmity mũciĩ, ũgakora we ndwendaga kuona brother yaku na nĩ mũciaranĩirwo. So what makes you think that your ancestors or the people who were there before you, your elders, didn't feel like shit about you. Makiri adutawe. What makes you think they didn't feel shit about you? AKA, tigane mwana oyo. AKA, tigane ciana ici. AKA, tigane giki. Though they are not saying it in a bad way, but I just want to show you how it can extend to the point you are calling on the wrong ancestors. Or rather, they don't even care. Or rather, they were your enemies. AKA, komodo cieho, no oge kugera ngero. Riu ramwite ngomi. You cannot get to that. Are you getting where I'm going this? So you are rekindling a relationship with an ancestor, but you are not even sure of how this ancestor felt about you. So when you're calling on your ancestors, you have to call on the right ancestors, aka the language you use, whichever ritual you are using, you have to make it specific on the kind of ancestors you want to come through for you. Don't just, I don't know what to tell you, ageriga ajiro, muhega ajiro, gomisi ajiro siothe, komisi ajiro siothe atakirisi yanyu. Iwa kwena habari ya mega. Ajiro ni ingi. Ageki. Okay? Now, warikia kumenya oguo ri, now you can even now micromize it now. Now it comes to you. So as you are calling on your ancestors, you are making it very clear. Gomisi itu icio cikomete, iria cikoragwo ci mwena wakwa, cinginyendera mega na thayu, nicio rureta, nicio uraria nacio, nicio urenda communicate nacio. Because remember, an ancestor or a leader was in a body before you, same body like this one. So the same way tugadu ni matigaga energy, magatiga what you call damuhe ngerekano nginyanirio ati cucu itu ni ndimukorete agika uguo, iyo ihana ndogo, ihana smoke, ihana residue, ihana ashes, ihana rurira, ihana a connection. There's always an ethereal connection or a spiritual connection connecting you to those people spiritually. Now, so you have to be very specific on the frequency you are tuning in when you are calling on your ancestors. Nithayo. Haya. Uria ngukwirite ati hihi we wanaigua muciari waku akiuga tiga ni mwana uyu ingi ari India. Tiga ndage nginya ni akwiraga uigue maito wanyu akwirage. He, ni tiga ndage enda yaku. Gitiga cukuru ri. Ingitwarithagia makari maneta maria mathia na bethi ndari mugi muno cukuru. So she's not telling you that out of malice, but there's that remnant of she feels like she was not ready for you. The fact that she feels she was not ready for you tells you you are an unwanted child. What do I mean? Spiritually, you just got attracted to how she was feeling. She didn't manifest you. She didn't plan for you. Ndehigire irio, ndekiriaga maundu maria makwihariria ukugia, uria wekire ni guka wokire. So the first thing she felt was shock, anger, disappointment, fear to regain die in a relationship, uncertainty. What will I do now? Though maybe she wanted to get pregnant, still it was not the right time. And ikiona andu tene kwale rituals ya cleanse before the baby came, you are ready for the baby. Now when the baby came again, you are still doing rituals. Magogona mothe ginya ma uzokia mwana goini, magogona mothe ma kwamukira buria ya goi kurumanira ku gwako kuorohia tumaundu turia tungikorwo tu twagukundikaga na twakorwo na thutha. That Lord spell, looking back like Lord, regrets, having not been, you get the whole idea. Now this light is bad for my eyes now. I don't have to give you a quality video. As long as you are taking the message, I'm not going to suffer. That's better. I'm not going to suffer. My eyes here. Take the message forget about the background or the light. Now ukitaka kitu edited I don't know, we don't do that here. Now Suzi amani iwe nawe. Timotaka was no internet access. Let's hope it's coming back. Naga kile geka. What do you call it? A connection. So if you have ever felt unwanted, ikaragwo kaigua tathi takoragwo na batana kana kaigua to tendetwo to the point you even confess I don't feel my purpose in this world. Sijui kwa nini nilizaliwa. That is a pointer that the spirit predecessors before you, the elder spirit before you, was in that vibration. Okay? It was in that vibration of uncertainty. So by default, you have to know that's not an ancestor to call, because there's no way you'd feel like you are not welcome if another being before you didn't feel it. You get what I'm saying? Hatiri hindi ungigwa guoya handu onogo ni kaundu utari wona ringi tuge ni wathi wona kaundu nduri wakona ringi, but that thing scares you. The only reason it has scared you is because there was another elder, another ancestor, another thing before you in that particular moment, and when that thing or place or person interacted with that thing that is making you feel fear, it felt fear. So it registered that for you to interact with this thing, there can be fear. That's the only reason you are going to pick up that energy of fear. Okay? So, by that only, then that means that when it comes to you, then we're going to understand that any moment, we're in a moment of feeling like you are fearing something. You feel like you are in a that fear, like so that tells you that that spirit, that elder, that ancestor felt that fear. So why you calling onto an entity that didn't face that thing with bravery? Kana kidu gitahotire de ko lack of a better word. Why you calling on a weak spirit that encountered that thing in a fearful way? So it registered fear, left a mark of fear there. So that should allow you to, that by default makes you understand that your ancestor or spiritual predecessors or your elder that you want to call on is in a point of fear. So you don't call on that one. You don't call on that ancestor. Wacha ijisort hiyo na hiyo oga yake. That's not yours. But if you're in a position whereby every time you think about that person you feel happy, wathio kaigwa andu makiuga gukamani ikarire miaka mingi guka twamwendete guti mundu utaga na guka, yani maragia tu maundu ma wega. He is gone, but there's no sadness. Though he is gone, there's no sadness. Everyone you encounter ni maundu mega ma guka. Guka ari mwega. Guka didona agana go nginya itura riri. Now that's an ancestor you can call on, because that ancestor went to a place where it has not encountered fear, aka it being before you is not in a fearful place. It's in a place of being accepted. It's in a place of being liked by everyone. But in the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension, it means that spirit is in a spirit of its own awareness. It's in its own space. It's occupying its own space. And the other spirits are noticing, but they are noticing that it's a spirit that is loved. Does that make sense? Some pancakes now. When they bring me food, I eat. So no wa jiro. Ora. Mo jiro. Kajaura. Aka nikio na kamera wenda kuyona wenda kwaria ndukeke ngwarurire wenda kuga atia ndukiaria warikia unjire
Koja.
nitu wetia
Koja nimeanza.
wetia wasoka wale mu kugodu but it's okay. So that makes you understand the kind of place that ancestor is. If every time you think about someone who was gone before you, your grandfather, your great grandfather, but every time you go for the you feel sad. When you think about them, you feel sad. When you feel about them, you feel like crying. That's an ancestor you shouldn't be calling. They're in a bad spot. Okay? They are trapped in purgatory. Sorry about that. It happens a lot. Some of these generational curses go as back far as just the fact that you are dropped as a baby. Kaigua mundu ni agwithirie mwana. Kaigua mwana agwire na ngoi. Wakora we undu munene muno tondu mwana kugwithio ni mamu wao. That trauma does not leave the baby to the point. Remember, your mother is the person, the first people you trust as a baby.
Sungekula hot dog ni tamu.
Hot dog. Acha nikule nini pancake.
Unakula kamoja.
Kutaste nitataste basi. So the first contact you have when you come to this world is your mother and father. So by default, you are inclined to trust them. So if you cannot trust your own mother, aka mamu wanyu ni ageretie gwikia mutaro ukirescue agicokerio kia hinya, aka mamu wanyu ni ageretie guguita ati mundu wamenye ni ari ageretie guguita mamu wanyu no ewe agwitiria gicoka akirira agikuiguira tha. The fact that maybe mamu wanyu ni ari akuguithia wi mwana kuguithio ukaigua mwana agwa ukaigua ringa thi mutwe ndu ni kugu nafanya hivyo. So those kind of things, that is trauma. Na nikyo ndage insist hate ni wega muno ukienda umenye relationship yanyu na maito wanyu ukamuka kahora ukamuria maito ri giciaro ri nigetha unyitwo ni contractions ri wariku, where was she when the contractions came? What kind of fright got her? Waciarirwo matatu-ini gari-ini ya muingi? Because you have trauma. Because your mom was surrounded by strangers looking at her nakedness. 1. She was in an uncertain place. 2. She was in a place that she was not surrounded by love. 3. Nginya ndwa mokire rescue ni strangers, so kigongona giaku already kiari githahu. You get what I'm saying? So those kind of traumas, they live with the people. Na nikiendaga riu hata ungimenya ukamenya hey, no wonder I have a fear of speaking in crowds. No wonder I have no confidence, because you picked it up the moment you came into this world. Yoti doke bure muado. Men are dogs. Men are not dogs. Blame your mother. She dropped you and she never told you. And you can imagine where a mother's mind would be for the mother to drop a baby. We wanona guku yobokaneti na rwege na ni guku ni undu wa gacui. Guku nkang'ethathira na kiihu ni undu wa gacui, mmoja wetu labda akufe. Na ni gacui, those maternal instincts. So where was your mom's mind to leave you or to make you feel abandoned? Why would your mother drop you? Was she lifting you up during domestic violence and you are caught in the middle and you fell because she was using you as a shield? tondu tariu ukikora we ukurire mucii wina abuse no nginya heal trauma yo. You have no option. You may pretend you are strong, but you are not. You are traumatized, and your children are traumatized. Uracokera the same things in one way, shape, or another. Maybe you are showering your babies with toys. Kila gothe arenda ukamuhe ati ni kumukunika love, but you are repeating the same thing. When your mother and your father were fighting, you felt alone. Maybe you'd lock yourself in a room alone. Okay? What does that mean? So even when you grow up now, you are giving your children toys, booking them in all classes, ugeciria ni love. Ati mwana wako ekaga music na tennis na gathie wika vuvuzela na gathie ku dance na nieka swimming, but you are thinking it's love, but you are pushing that child away. You don't want a relationship with the child, so you are pushing the child away. The child will grow up thinking it was about the toys and they got the best thing in life, but in reality they will be so far away from you. AKA mwana ucio agakura akaigira ndege agathie ndakuririkanaga niki thimu no moragie rimwe mweri niki akimenyerie kuikaria na toy agwitaga mam ukamwira oya muithikiri ugatwarithie mam tuthi gutware uga slide na ringenda gukwira kaundu mami you know today in class have you done your music apana pick your piano. So you are always pushing that child away. Now when they are grown up, they are returning the favor because they learned to keep to themselves. They learned to minding my own business. So even when they are grown and you are the parent, you are still distanced. But you thought you are giving them toys because you are not using your common sense. You are doing what everybody else is doing. Ciana citwaragwo so sadi no nginya tutware ciana hao cigathake na ciana iria ingi no akura mwana waku ndangenda kwaria nawe muthenya umwe ngamutinde nake oyaku no gutindo muneanite kwi makraoni mwana waku na ni arigithagia no warangi uriku sandi umuthi akahakwo kamilioni ucio superman aturite face painting ugituhenia ni wendo. You need to heal first. You the parent, you are traumatized and you are raising the same traumatized children, repeating the same generational curses, a cycle. Your child can't wait to get out of the house. Why? Every time they are around you, they are always in their room, aka away from your house, away from your parameter, away from your surroundings, always in their room, always playing music, always doing games, always sending them to camps so that you can have a few times with your phone or friends or football. Ati mwana wewe ni kumugurira nguo twamurira nguo ni uguo cia birthday na uri cukuru. That's it, that's all. That's not parenting. Onakavota giamugeire no onakavota giamugeire because you are repeating the same thing in one way, shape or another. Ni ugagithie we ugituike elder ugituike ancestor twacokera maundu mariku. Okay, the only way to heal a generation is first of all to heal yourself, your own trauma first. After you have healed your own trauma, now the siblings, the descendants, you are bringing them up now. As a parent who is healing, you heal with them. Don't shout at your children. Have a dialogue. Have a parameter. Maramirie. Mahewedo. Teach them. They need you. They don't need the teacher. They don't need the world. Let them learn from you. As you are healing. Okay? Become parent yourself now. Parent self. Learn to parent yourself. Most of you want to be parents to babies. You have never parented yourself. You were raised abandoned. Though you are in the family, you have no voice. You had no voice in that house. Dogiaria, urauga ati ariwe. Kira we niki? Ciana ici guku mundu ndakauga undu ni ciana inegene. So you grew up in a home with no voice. You were never consulted on nothing in your whole life. We haririe nturathi gwa tata wanyu. You were never consulted. Ni ukwenda guthi gwa tata wanyu. umuthi murenda gwika atia. It was always umuthi murathi gwa tata wanyu, umuthi murathi gwa cucu wanyu, ni kurathi kuma dump. Nginya hari ungionaga chance ugura urio kuma dump gwa cucu wao, kuma dump gwa tata wao, no we ona tati ati ni wendo. Mwana ucio ndimutwaraga akamageithie. No, we know you are not. We know you are escaping something. You have not healed. You don't know how to love because you are not loved. So heal first, then you can love. Now back to the ancestors. Now, since you know that your friends or your family siblings may not even be your family, then you have to understand that through bloodlines, you may be born with a sister or a brother who's your enemy, who in previous lifetimes you are fighting against in the spiritual world, aka in different bodies. You are enemies. Your clans will never relate. But now, maybe you died almost at the same time in different locations, but the mother you choose to come through at any particular time would be vibrating in one way of your spirit wands, or in another way your brother spirit wands. But when you get here, as you grow, mwakoroka realize atiriri, ona hati muhane na brother yaku, hati muhane na mwane wa maitu wanyu, mwane wa nyokwa. You are two different people. And by just being different, it could go as far as be enemy bloodlines. To the point, ucio no ngikugiria wone utheri. Ucio no uthia kwira kaundu na tondu ndakwendete ati physical ndo kiri akumeneire no ni wa sabotage. This is the brother who will never support you, the sister who will never support you. Now we are talking on the physical. Now on the spiritual side, this is a spirit that is there to make sure you don't go where you're supposed to go, aka wakora andu manyuaga hamwe kai ucio ni brother na sister. Manyua hamwe mariago makarutana mutaro mendanite. No we ati mariago magakoma mutaro ni mendanite. No ti kwendana mendanite. He no mwe uraherithio uri ungi no ngituire ni ukona he uri ukoragwo iguru wo uyu ungi we ni wa kumutwara macohi-ini kumugiria kuria arathie njira. So it's spiritual warfare that has come to the same house to the siblings. And this goes in too many ways. It can even be business wise. He uri uturaga akombaga uyu ungi mbeca aturite agucitie brother no yake na thutha akombero wira yake no uturo oyagwo na iguru aigagirwo wira aharagia wira ekaga maundu manene na ni sibling. So you have to get to a point and you wait a minute. Na toru ni menyete brother yaku to brother yaku na guciaranirwo ri ni njui nginya horo wa thakame ri iyo aga gukorwo mundu uyu ni kunyarire nda kunyarire uyu. Okay, now you can have a dialogue, a meaningful dialogue, aka I've been giving you money for business, but this time it's official. Kara na documents ida uko hewira no unende igwa ni uranogia reke nguhe wira o ngukirie ringi no menyu wona wathukia ndire na option ingi ndindigeretie awa niguo maitu niguo nigeretie. This is the last time you tried. People change tiwa muda agicenjia, but they have to want to change first. So they have to be in a position whereby they become a good example. Now you can continue helping them. Kuridhayo. Now back to the topic. So, if you're about to call on your spiritual ancestors or elders, and every time you call on them, you feel relieved, you feel easy, you have an easy night, you feel at ease, chilled, then that's the kind of ancestor that's working for you. If you're calling on your ancestors and you sense fear, uncertainty, you are feeling self-doubt, then that's not an ancestor to call. You're better off kujitoa hiyo shimo umeingia on your own. You better get yourself out of that mess. instead of calling on that unsure ancestor. Now, this goes all the way to the point whereby people will be calling on the wrong spirits, calling on the wrong ancestors and elders, all the way to legions and legions of men and things like that. So we find you are calling on deities, you are calling on names you have no relation to. They have shown us this in the Legend of the Seeker. Legend of the Seeker. Is that a movie? I should watch that. Legend of the Seeker. Ni movie gani series? Maybe I should watch that. Now, when you call on your ancestors, spiritual predecessors, you have to know the right terms to use. The Jews, the name for God, they don't pronounce the O. They leave it as open. When you read the Talmud and all those Jewish texts, the one that come from behind, the word God is G dash and then D. AKA, we ogithoma ibuku riu ri, wakinya uha Ngai ri, witane Ngai uria we uwe. Matiko makwandikire ni uriku. Just a second. Yarikia call yo. So tukinyeta hariha ancestor, the feeling, how you feel about it, all the right names. So names are not just meaningless. When we mari ritwa ni mako makuwete orito kurigana ritwa ri demo ya sinayo. So it's best if you learn how to call on if you need to, because I didn't even say it's always when you need to or you always need to, but if you need to, it's good to know the names to use, the terms and conditions. When can you call on them? What time? Okay, there are some deities, there are some things you cannot call between some certain hours. Now, it's gone. Doesn't matter anyway. Ukiona yurete diuma ya ogo ima batani guka boy. So that's how you know when your ancestor is in a bad place. Every time you think about them, you feel sad, you feel sorry. If when you think about them, you feel happy, they're in the right place, in a good place, you can call on them to come through for you because they're already easy, they don't have it hard. But when you think about an ancestor and you feel fear, you feel uneasy, then they are finding it hard, they are finding it uneasy. Wherever they are not at ease, aka they are not rested, they are restless, aka they are in purgatory, going through trials and tribulations. So I think ugo nigo goda kumuririkania digwisi eno ndugi goda kumuririkania ogo ni hari ntugukiario ndugi. But for now, we just wanted us to remember that I have a space to hold. I think I have two spaces to hold. One is on how to heal your toxic women. No, not holding that one. I don't hold those kind of topics because people have to remember we are talking of females and males. There's nothing like man and woman. So if you can join me in an hour, I'll be on spaces talking about not the healing journey, that one we did. How to have a better relationship with yourself. No, we did how are you the cycle breaker of your family. Either ukamenyaga na niwe waru ni gukorwo ukiruta maundu mangi ma muci. Are you the cycle breaker? Is it you? No, we can do that another time. Unagandaga topic ya kwa spaces. So the next video we'll be doing how to build self-value. Yeah. How to build self-value. This will be the topic in the spaces that I'm going into. How to build self-value. Interesting. Because you also have to learn how to build your own value back into your life after years of demoralization. Nithayo. Mundu etega yuria amoe. That is where we are. Yes. Yeah, that is the word you use. So don't just call on names that you don't know. Makiwel Shaddai, Amole Shaddai. Do you get learn the names you are using, because those are entities of things that we are in places before you, in things, in people, places and things before you. These are entities which were in temples, in shrines, in people's shrines, in people's cemeteries, in people's churches and vaults. And you are calling on them to come through for you. First of all, they are not going to come through for you because they are not for you. And if they come, then remember they are coming to you with war for using their name. They want to know, why are you giving me hell? Then the other thing, you don't even know how to pray. So when they look at you, they see you in weakness. You are bowed down. You are kneeling down. So by default, you're in that energy of lack, of fear, of defeat, of under. Kneeling means you are under. You are making yourself small. They already see you are small. So that's the energy you get. That's the answer you get. Did we do how to heal the cycle and how to know you are the cycle breaker in your family? Yeah, that we did in spaces. I can copy the link from spaces. Maybe the comments, then click go to our Twitter. It's a recorded space. Go to Twitter, the recording will be there. I have done those videos on Twitter spaces. They are recorded. So I'll click after this. I'll click the link and place it here on the comment. Ko wasoka comment nego sokeria na wa click go to our Twitter. Go to our that recorded space on cycle breakers and a lot of these other things which are in these books. So for you to become a better version of yourself in your home, in your business, in your relationship, as a person, as a spirit, to grow your mind, you have to know what you are doing. You cannot be in limbo. You cannot be telling someone else to take the wheel. You cannot be giving everything that you have on someone else at the Rofurani Kujinge. You cannot abandon. You have to take charge. You have to steer yourself. So if you need to heal, heal first. Then now you are being accountable. And maybe if you put in enough work, the discipline that is needed, you don't have to reincarnate here. You can incarnate into something bigger, something bigger. Your mind can be so big that there's no container in this 3D can hold it. Your mind be so big. Your mind be so big, it cannot come back into this vessel. Nobody can handle that mind. You have your higher mentality, your mindsets, they are bigger than this being, because this being is weak. Humans are limited. So have a mind so unlimited with so many possibilities that that even this body cannot handle it. So when you try to reincarnate, you don't even incarnate into a human body. You incarnate into something bigger. Hata kama ni reincarnation, I repeat, but you are repeating it in something bigger and better than you. A being that is bigger and better than you, an awareness that can it's something that can hold that awareness that is bigger than this physical human body. AKA, you can become a moon, like the moons. You can become one of the stars you see out there. You can become a planet. You can become because planets and stars are just different beings, bodies of water, stars, just like you. You're a star, but you're a tiny star. That's why you're a superstar here. You're a star, a music star. You are still in the physical body, but you're still a star. But if you are a real star, you'd be a twinkle, twinkle, little star. How I wonder what you are, kind of star. Playing another awareness before you move into another awareness. Okay? Stop wasting your mind. A mind is a terrible thing to waste. Na ni dhayo.